just made some of this pasta with beef and tomato stir fry. I think a lot of Vietnamese people have their own version of this dish. I remember eating a lot of this growing up, and so now whenever I have it, it's just a very warm feeling. Anyways, if you are interested in how I make this, please stay tuned. Okay, so I've laid out everything that you're going to need. The first thing is some pasta. I like to use these elbow macaroni, is that what it's called? Because it's smaller, so it's easier for my toddler. And then for the meat, I always use these sliced beef if I can, just because they're sliced so thin so that they're already tender, so you don't have to worry about tenderizing the meat. But they are big. I'm probably only going to use half of it, and each slice is pretty big. You can see the size here. So what I'll probably do is slice them into 3 and then marinate it. So for the marinade, I'm going to need some oil, some sesame oil. This is Maggi seasoning. I always use that in place of soy sauce as a seasoning. I just think it tastes a lot better. I'm gonna need some shallots for the seasoning, and also have 5 cloves of garlic. Half of it will be for the seasoning. Other things I'll need is gonna be, let's see, it's gonna be ketchup. I like ketchup instead of tomato paste because this is thinner, so it's easier to mix. Also, I got just a little clamshell of these cherry tomatoes, a carrot, and some spring onions. And I don't know, did I mention this one? I'm gonna slice this up to stir fry also. So let me kind of set up. I actually already have some of the pasta boiling because that takes kind of the longest time. So the next thing I'm gonna do is set up for this. So I'm gonna start cutting this and all of the garlic and shallots so I can marinate. So let me get set up and I'll turn the camera back on. Okay, so while I was getting everything ready, my pasta is done, and you can see here that I cut down. I actually ended up cutting them a lot smaller than I was planning to, but they're still kind of frozen. So I'm just gonna get the marinade mixed in and then set it on the counter and let it continue to kind of defrost a bit. So I'm just gonna add just a dash of this oil. That was about 1/8 of a teaspoon. I'm gonna do a 1/4 teaspoon of the sesame oil. Let's see, I'm gonna do a tablespoon of the Maggi soy sauce. Then I'm gonna do half of the shallots. That should be about half. And I'm gonna do half of the garlic. So I'll just leave that there. And I'm just gonna give it a quick mix right now. And then later on, as it continues to defrost on the counter, I'll just continue to mix it so that it gets evenly marinated. And then while I'm waiting for this to defrost completely, I am going to get the tomatoes washed, and I'm just gonna slice those in half, and then I'm gonna work on the carrot. I'll probably just I'll peel the skin, and then I'll use a peeler to make really thin slices of that, and then I'll wash and cut down the green onions. Oh, and I've got to chop this too. So I'll get all this prepared while this sits on the counter and continues to defrost, and I will turn the camera back on once everything is ready, and I'm gonna start cooking. So I will be right back. All right guys, here is the mess over here as I'm getting ready. I continued kind of just giving this some mixes as it was defrosting on my counter, so it looks like everything is nice and evenly marinated. So I'm gonna get started on the macaroni first. If I could set my camera. So I already have this going on medium-high heat. I'm just gonna add about a tablespoon of oil here. And then 2 tablespoons of the ketchup. Oops, that's a little bit more. Should be fine. Just gonna give this a quick stir. And then I'm gonna add in the pasta. So I made this at the very beginning, and it kind of got stuck together. And if that happens to you, all you have to do is run it under hot water and use like a spatula or a spoon or something to break it apart. So I'm just going to get this evenly coated, and then I'm going to set it aside, and I'm going to start on the beef. So it looks like it's pretty even. Just going to move it over here to keep it warm. Okay, so this is medium-high heat. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of, oops, it's a little bit more than a tablespoon. I'm going to let it heat up. Okay, once it starts smoking, I'm going to add the shallots and the garlic. Quick stir, and then I'm going to add in the beef right away. This cooks really quickly because it's so thin. So you kind of let it sit, get it brown a little bit, and then give it a quick stir. So you only need to do that a couple of times, and then it should be ready to go. It's mostly cooked, so that's fine because it's going to keep cooking. I'm going to add in the onions. The carrot. You can see that I kind of used the peeler and I just cut it into, or peeled it into really thin shreds. That makes it really easy to cook. So it doesn't need much time, and then I'm going to add in the tomato. Then you can add the elbow macaroni back in. easy. And just to give it a little bit more color, you add some of the green onions right on top, right there. Give it a nice mix. You don't need it to cook, so I'll have the fire off now. And that's it. That is home style cooking. It's probably not authentic Vietnamese, but a lot of people make some version of this dish. I just remember eating a lot of this growing up, and it just brings back great memories when I get to make some of this on my own. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, guys.